the vast majority of people on the planet have never bothered to find out who they are. And this is what Satsang's about. To find out who you are. Right here, right now. Not to exchange an old idea we have of who we are for a new, more streamlined or more grandiose idea of who we are. You know, it's not to walk out the door in the end crowing, I am the divine ocean of wonderful bliss. It's not what this is about at all, although that may happen. Finally, this isn't about gaining new experience. This is about knowing to the bone that who you are is whole and complete and is absolutely unassailable. Nothing can be added to you. Nothing can be taken away from you. This is what we're here to know, not to learn about, not to create a new belief system concerning, but to know. So the only thing tricky about this knowing is that it isn't a conventional knowing. In other words, the way we know objects, both gross, in the world, and subtle in our minds, the ideas, is by their qualities. We can see qualities there. We can basically make a model in our head of what I am, or what we're looking at, and then we believe we call that knowledge about the object that we're examining. And then when we're satisfied that we've sensed it correctly, we label it, put it up in a box in our head, and then we memorize it. It's in memory. But who we are is a little tougher because we can't box ourselves up in memory because for the simple fact that we're not objects. To the degree that we see ourselves as these bodies, if we believe that I am this, if I believe, I'll put it in the first person, that I am this body, and where I stop is at the end of this skin, or maybe if I believe in auras or something, there's some heat or some energy that's kind of along the outside of the skin. If I believe that that's who I am, then I'm seeing myself as an object. And then I'll be concerned with the qualities of me. When we're raised as children, we're basically taught to imagine ourselves in a correct way, in an orthodox way, in a way where the self-image, we're raising our children to have a healthy self-image, which is basically to imagine themselves correctly. But who you are and who we is not imagination. Imagination arises within us, but we're not imagination. We're not objects. So this brings us to Ramana's invitation, Ramana Maharshi's. What he discovered is that who he is beyond birth and death. The birth and death just happen or just events that happen in life, And you can imagine if that was our take on it, we'd realize that as far as this is concerned, things just wouldn't be a matter of life and death anymore. We just see these events, that they would happen when they happen in a moment in time, and the rest of the time we can be unaffected by those ideas, if we choose. This identification, this idea of who we are that we're taught, becomes part of a survival mechanism for the body. In other words, we have a model of ourselves in our mind, the imagined me, and that imagined me is basically we compare how this is compared to the imagined me and see if everything gels out okay. We're probably checking several times a second, at a subconscious level to make sure everything's okay. This roughly resembles the idea we have of who we should be right now. And it's a very valuable thing. It doesn't have to go away. But we can see it for the mechanism that it is. And we can see that it's not the truth of who we are. So when, I'm all over the place right now, I realize. So when Ramana got up off the floor, he had a question. And the question is, well, if I'm not the body, which very definitely dies, then who am I? And this is a question we can all ask ourselves right here and now, because there's no time like the present. Have you ever asked yourself that question?